Alot, guys. Expert case. Pretty good, pretty good. Come on, show me at least a silver or a gold. Or cobalt, of course. Dank as fuck. Very nice.
Yes! On your way back home.
Hey, what's up guys? My name is As and welcome back to another episode of Dirty Bomb. Now today is not really a normal Dirty Bomb episode because I'm going to show you guys how to submit your own gameplay for the channel intro highlight. A while back I said I wanted to do like special highlights of your own gameplay for the intro. Just short clips of Dirty Bomb that are really nice, for instance squads, maybe you're a beast at sniping, just really nice moments, epic moments, funny moments, maybe epic fails. Both CatForDog and I know how hard it can be for a small channel to kind of get noticed, so hopefully this will be able to help you guys. So if you do submit your gameplay and I choose it, of course there will be a link to your channel, maybe your Twitch or whatever, or maybe you want to be known as that epic guy, you don't even have a YouTube channel or Twitch channel, you just want the fame. Of course we will credit all of the creators. So some requirements for the video. It has to be at least 720p 30 fps. Of course, higher quality is always nice. There can't be any music in the background. Also, please don't submit full montages. Just a short clip under 20 seconds of your highlight kills. Now, how are you going to submit this footage? Just upload it to YouTube, take the link of that video and comment it in the Steam group. There will be a new topic of like channel intros. Just put your link there. Please do not comment on YouTube videos like, hey, I just sent you a link, can you check it out? Also, please don't spam me on Steam or whatever. Just submit it there and we'll look at it. And if it is actually a nice clip, I of course will use it and give you guys a little bit of a shout out. The original plan was of course to do like a top 5 or a top 10. Currently that's just not really doable with the small player base of Dirty Bomb and also the relatively small subscriber base of our channel, so I'll just do it this kind of the middle way. Also there are no requirements, so just come up with the best videos or clips you can get. Now most people of course that have a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel of course already know how to capture footage, but in this video I'm also going to show two programs that are really easy for recording and also are free. And those programs are Nvidia Shared, previously known as Shadowplay, and OBS Studio. Both, like I said, are free. So I'll first take a look at Nvidia Shared or Shadowplay. I'm just going to call it Shadowplay, even though it is technically shared now. The biggest downside of this program is you have to have a Nvidia graphics card, at least a 600 series or higher. So if you have a GeForce 600 series or higher, your set and your PC will be able to run this program. If not, you have to look at something else, for instance OBS Studio. If you have an Nvidia video card, chances are you already have GeForce Experience. If not, just open Google, type in GeForce Experience, and download the software there. I highly recommend you downloading the latest version of it as well. Especially Nvidia does upload quite regularly whenever there is like a new release of a game to optimize it for those specific games. So once you have downloaded Nvidia GeForce Experience, just open it by typing GeForce Experience right here. And there should be a window similar to this popping up. Takes a while, you can see all of your games, it does do a lot more. And then you have here your settings. There should be a window called Shared. Of course mine is Dutch, but there should be something like Shared. Make sure that this thing is toggled on, so it is green. The biggest difference between Shadowplay and Shared is that now Shared has a in-game overlay, which is really useful. And you can access this in-game overlay by pressing Alt plus Z. So go to the settings, and here you have a variety of things you can do. For instance, you can connect it to your channels. All kinds of channels are allowed. You can see it Facebook, Google, Imgur, Twitch, YouTube, all kinds of stuff. Also you have your overlay, so you can have specific things that you want to show or not show. For instance, the FPS counter, the status indicator if you're recording, streaming or whatnot. Like I said, the FPS counter and also the number of viewers in case you are streaming, and a preview of your camera if you are using a webcam with this program. Then we have the hotkeys. You can basically customize anything you want. These are my settings. Of course you can choose anything you like. Then the most important thing probably is recordings. This is where all of the recordings are stored. So I picked E, that's a special hard drive that I have dedicated for just raw recordings. The temporary files, however, are still on my main drive just because those are temporary and they will be deleted every time you turn off your PC, so it's not really a big problem. But if you want to set this to anything other than your main drive, usually it would be the same map as this, only then not temporarily but just recordings. Press this button. I have it set, like I said, to E, but if you press this a couple times, you can pick all of your drives. So just choose one. I highly recommend picking a dedicated drive just for the optimal performance. I also have broadcasting. You can pick, like I said, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all kinds of stuff. Not really going to touch this. You also have the gallery, which is really great. You can just make in-game screenshots of, if you are not using Steam, but another game that isn't on Steam, you can still make screenshots, which in my opinion is really, really nice. Then you have the notifications. This is for all kinds of stuff, like if you are going record, it will say you're recording now. It also will say if you stop the recording, how long you have recorded, all that kind of stuff. You can customize that here. And the last setting is the privacy settings. Basically, if you say yes, it will also allow for the program to record your desktop. Now I have that turned off, though if you want to make these kinds of videos where you record the desktop, you would need to press yes. So then here we see the in-game overlay. This is what you normally would see in-game if you press Alt plus Z. So you can see instant replay. That's the best thing in my opinion about Shared, is that it allows you to record up to 20 minutes afterwards. So something you can have the most epic shot ever, but you weren't recording. Normally that would suck ass, but now you can just press a button and it will record up to 20 minutes afterwards. So really, really cool feature. So this feature has a multiple settings. Just go to settings. So basically you can dictate the length of the clip. You can go from half a minute up to 20 minutes, and the nice thing is to also say the amount of disk space it will take up. You can set the quality to low, average, high, or you can take custom, and I highly recommend just ticking the highest, especially if you have a dedicated drive for recordings. Definitely pick the highest quality setting. Also you can set your resolution to this, and also your frame rate to 30 or 60 FPS. Shadowplay does allow to capture in 4K and up to 130 megabits a second, but I don't really recommend this unless you have like a beastly PC and have tons of hard drive space. So then we have the normal recordings. There's just two buttons, record, and also the settings. Basically the same thing applies here. I highly recommend using identical settings for both recording and instant replay. And then we also have broadcasting. I'm not gonna touch this, but this is basically for your live streaming. Personally, I never use Shadowplay for live streaming because I think other programs are much more customizable. For instance, OBS, which we will touch on in just a few moments. Then we have also the screenshots. I have currently bound it to F8, but basically just can make screenshots in pretty decent quality in-game, which is quite nice. Here is your mic setting. You can have it to push to talk, always on or off, and you can configure the settings however you would like it. One of the biggest downsides, in my opinion, of Shadowplay is that it doesn't allow for multiple audio streams, so you can't split your voice and the game sound, which should normally be really useful for adding it later on. Unfortunately, that's not an option in Shadowplay. And then here you have your gallery. Basically, if you press that, you can see all of your photos or in-game screenshots. That's basically all of the settings, all there is to Shadowplay. We'll show you quick some in-game action of this. It's really, really easy. In my opinion, Shadowplay produces some really, really good quality. Also, the biggest pro about this program is that it takes basically zero PC resources, so you don't really notice that you are recording. So right away when you launch any game that is compatible with Shadowplay, you will see this thing right here. Press Alt Z. There are unfortunately some games that don't work with Shadowplay, but most of the games do. So you can, for instance, see here I only set my FPS counter, which I think is really nice. So in game you can press Alt Z and basically set all of the things again, so really nice. That wasn't available in Shadowplay. So for instance, I have the F9 key bound to my recording key. So if I press F9, it should say recording started. So that's really nice. And now I can press F9 again to stop the recording and it will say recording is saved. So then you can go to the folder where you want to save your videos and use it for editing or just straight uploading it to YouTube. So if I were to press F10, it would capture up to 2.5 minutes, which I have currently set the instant replay to. It would capture all of that footage. I just started up Dirty Bomb, so for me it won't be 2.5 minutes now, but if I press F10, it should say last 43 seconds are recorded now. So I'm going to close Dirty Bomb and I will show you the output of the files. Now the file sizes are quite big, but you can lower it, maybe 30 megabits a second. That is still reasonably. If you're recording in 720p, maybe 2520 is still doable. So I'm now back at the desktop. For instance, I have a shortcut to my raw drive. That's where I store all of my recordings. I just press that. The nice thing about Shadowplay, it will automatically make folders for each game. So you don't need to do that manually. It's just really nice and organizes everything. So for instance, I go to Dirty Bomb. So you can see all of the Dirty Bomb clips. When it says DVR, it will means that you press that with the instant replay. So these are the ones that you recorded backwards. So it's really nice. It also says the title of the game, the date and the time, which is really nice. You can see the file size, 107 megabytes for a 1 minute clip, fairly large. And this is the just the live recording I did, 10 seconds. So now I've shown you guys how to record your gameplay with Nvidia Shadowplay, but what if you don't have an Nvidia video card or you just don't like Shadowplay? There's another alternative, which is OBS Studio, and the great thing about this, it is free. It is also really customizable. So what you need to do is go to OBS Studio, basically pick this one, OBS Open Broadcaster Software Download. Just download the installer or download the zip. So once you have downloaded OBS and have installed OBS, just open OBS Studio. It should load the program, takes a while, and then it should appear on the main screen, not on the secondary screen. So basically, this is the program. Looks a little bit daunting at first, but it is actually really easy. So for this one, I'm gonna create a new scene. Just you can do that by pressing this plus sign or just right click add. I can give the scene a name, so I'll say test. So basically I've just added a new scene. So then you can add your resources. Now what you definitely want to do is add a resource that is like the main screen or the game. There are multiple different ways you can do this. So for instance, you can have a display capture, but you can also have game capture. This will only show specific games. I highly recommend using display capture because some games do load in another window whenever they go actually into game, so the loading screen can be something different and it can cause some problems. So I highly recommend picking display capture. So again, you can create a name, so I'm just gonna call this test screen, and then you should be greeted with this a nice little window of your main monitor. You can also pick a different monitor if you have multiple monitors. I'm gonna pick the main one, and you can also capture your mouse movement. So now you have this, looks a little bit weird, it is captureception. You see these bars moving. Basically this is the audio from just the desktop and this is the main microphone. And the nice thing about OBS is that you can have multiple audio tracks, so you can have, for instance, your buddies at Skype or TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever in a separate audio track. And that's really useful if you want to edit your video and maybe just mute your friends or increase the volume or decrease the volume. Now you have this, you need to go and fix all of your settings. You can do this by pressing settings and this window should pop up. So we have the general settings, of course, language and all this kind of stuff. I basically just left this as default. I highly recommend you do the same. Then you can go to stream. This is basically again for live streaming, Twitch and all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna touch this in this video. Go to output. Again, this is the streaming tab. Don't touch this. Go to recordings. Now it's highly important that you press this tab and press advanced, not simple. Press advanced, gives you a little bit more options. So the first thing is type, just leave it to standard. Then recording path, basically again like Shadowplay, is where your files are going to be stored at. You can just browse any folder you like. Again, I picked the same drive because I never really use them at the same time. Just pick a drive, preferably a dedicated hard drive or maybe an external hard drive. So then you can have the recording format. I chose MP4, I think that's the most versatile one. Highly recommend that. You can also use these, most of them I don't even know, but MP4 is probably the best one. Now again, this is the audio track. That's the greatest thing in my opinion about OBS. You can have up to 4 different audio tracks. What you need to do is tick however many audio tracks you want. So for instance, you want to have audio track 1 and 3 loaded into your files, tick 1 and 3. If you want to have 1, 2, 3, tick 1, 2, 3. Then the encoder, I highly recommend using the NVAC H264 if you have that. Basically, if you tick this, it will use that special chip and the performance hit will be much less. If you use the X264, it will use the CPU, and especially in Dirty Bomb, that will impact your performance and FPS a lot. If you have it available, definitely tick that one. Then if you want to record in a different resolution than your main monitor is, just tick this one and you can basically type any resolution you want. I highly recommend just leaving it as default, as your native resolution of your monitor. That will look the best. This thing, I don't really touch it. Then we have the quality settings. Now these are really important. We have 4 settings. We have consistent bitrate, variable bitrate, this one which I don't really know what it stands for, and we have lossless. Lossless basically just captures in lossless, so it won't lose any quality, but the file sizes will be insane. I don't really recommend this, especially in your YouTube. You won't really see the difference anyways. Consistent bitrate is really easy. Basically it just records at the consistent bitrate, so whatever you type in here, and remember this is kilobytes a second, so for instance 60,000, it will always record at 60,000. Then you have the keyframe intervals, which I leave at 0. I highly recommend doing the same. The presets. Then we have the presets. I like high quality, but if your PC isn't the greatest, you probably want to go with high performance, which will lower the quality a little bit, but it won't be as demanding for your PC as high quality is. You can also pick one of these, but I highly recommend using either high quality or high performance. Then all of this other kind of stuff, just leave it as it is. Except this one, use 2-pass encoding. If that isn't ticked, I highly recommend ticking that. That will basically render each frame twice, so it will be a little bit more quality, but it will be more demanding for your PC. So then we also have variable bitrate. Basically it's the same as consistent bitrate, only it will not go any higher than 60,000 in this case, but whenever a scene isn't as detailed, for instance this, now the desktop recording, it automatically lowers the bitrate, drastically decreasing the file size. So I highly recommend going with variable bitrate, because that will allow for just the best quality and also the smallest file sizes. There's also this one, the CQP setting. This is a number which I think 18 is like really high quality. Basically, this will pick a certain quality setting and automatically set the bitrate to match the quality. So for instance, if a scene is really detailed, for instance game with a lot of grass and foliage, it will automatically increase the bitrate by quite a lot. Like I said, 18 is really high. You will get insanely high quality videos, but the file sizes will be also through the roof. Now one important thing is with OBS, every time you apply some settings, you need to press apply, because otherwise it won't save. Then we have audio, basically all of the different tracks. You can have up to 4, the audio bitrate, and also you can even name it. Basically I never really touched this. So then we can go to audio. Then we have the sample bitrate. I highly recommend picking the same bitrate as your main computer bitrate is. If you don't know what your PC's bitrate is, press right click on the volume knob, go to your settings, this should pop up. Then you can right click on the device that is like your standard device, go to properties and check advanced, and there should be the quality of your audio. So then the channels, you can pick either stereo or mono. Definitely go with stereo. Mono sound is really annoying. So then we have the desktop audio device. For me it is this interface, which is basically a USB audio deck. For most people it will be something like Realtek high definition audio, something similar. Just pick that. That will be the main audio of your PC, so whatever you hear, it will also record that. You can have up to 2 different audio devices. So I have also this Audio Realtek digital output, which is basically the output for instance Skype and TeamSpeak, so I can have my buddies on a separate audio track. Definitely really useful. Then we have the mic auxiliary audio, which is your microphone. I've set this to the Blue Yeti. You can also pick any other webcam or microphone that you have connected to your PC. And then you can also enable push to talk, push to mute. Again, if you change something here, press apply before going to the next step. So go to video, definitely really important. This, the base canvas resolution, is basically the main resolution you are going to record your video in. Now you can output at a lower resolution, for instance 720p. I don't really know why you would do this, but if you want to do this, definitely pick the highest downscale filter. For instance this one, the sharpen scaling 32 sampling. That will allow for the best quality. And also you can set the FPS to whatever you want. Again, press apply before going to the hotkeys. This really speaks for itself. This is basically everything the program can do. I can bind basically everything to any key or even key combinations you would like. For instance, my recording start stop is Ctrl F12. I don't really use OBS for anything else than record, so basically all of the other things are empty. So finally we have the advanced stuff. This process priority basically dictates how much of your PC power is dedicated to OBS. I've set it to normal. You can set it to high or lower. Basically, if you have a crappy PC, probably stick it above normal or high. This will mean that it will improve the quality of your video, but definitely will decrease your frame rate in game, which sucks. Then we have the video step. I don't really touch any of these settings. This is for live streaming again. I don't really touch this and leave it just as default. So once you have set up everything, just press apply once more and OK. So once you have done everything, it should be looking similar like this, where you have your main screen and our game and basically some audio sliders. One really important thing is, if you want to have dedicated audio tracks, go to Mixer and make sure to press like every single audio track just to select one audio track, because otherwise if you tick for instance 2 and 3, it will output this desktop audio 2 on both 2 and 3, basically just eliminating the dedicated audio tracks, because then that audio track will have both your mic sound and your desktop 2 audio sound. So once you've done everything, you are ready to record. Now you can press, for instance, for me it is F12. The biggest downside about this program, it doesn't have an overlay. You can see right here I'm recording for 5 seconds. The GPU power it takes is 2.6%. Now I have a fairly good CPU, so your result might be a little bit higher. I'm recording also at 60 FPS. Now if I press Ctrl F12 again, it stops. I have recorded now for roughly like 20 seconds. I can close this. So then you can go to the folder where you want to save all of your videos or the specific hard drive. For me again, it is the raw drive. Go here, it should be somewhere here, the last one, this one. You can see 18 seconds for 136 megabytes, which is actually quite large. That's because I'm recording this one at 60,000 megabytes bitrate. So if you open this with Windows Video Player, pause it real quick, you can see right here there are 3 different audio tracks. And then if we real quick open, for instance, Movie Studio, which does support multiple audio tracks. We open this real quick, drag it into here, and you can see there's the video track with 3 different audio tracks, which is really useful for editing. So now you hopefully are able to record your dank gameplay, upload it to YouTube and submit the link on our Steam group. Now remember, these are just 2 of the maybe hundreds of different recording softwares. I just really like these 2 because they are very easy to use and of course free. So I hope this helped some of you out. I get a lot of questions which programs I use to record my gameplay with. Like I said, I just use Shadowplay mainly for using it as the instant replay, which is really nice feature. And for all of the other recordings I mainly use OBS Studio and OBS Classic for the face cam. If you have any questions, just leave a comment down below and I'll happily answer it. So again, if you have a nice clip, record it, upload it to YouTube and send a link to the Steam group. There will be a link down in the description. If I do pick your clip, you will of course get a small shout out, hopefully helping your channel grow a little bit. Our channel of course isn't by any means like big, but everything helps. And we really know that because when we had 50 subs, even a difference in 5 views per video makes you happy and you see an increase in views. That's just really awesome to see that grow. So hopefully this video was useful to you. If it was, please leave a like. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.